Well, a very good afternoon to you all. I hope you're all fine. It's New Year's Eve, yep, the 31st of December 2023, and we're here to take a look at the weather for the UK for the week ahead. Yep, quite a big forecast this one, quite a change on the way. We're going to lose all this low pressure. Things are going to change. High pressure is going to come in, settle things down, and cool things down. It could turn quite cold later on in the period. So a lot to get through. So let's make a start. Well, outside at the moment, low pressure is well on the scene across the UK. Lots of fronts, lots of showers, lots of heavy rain, especially in the west along the south coast. Here in Folkestone, we've had hail, we've had some thunder and some lightning and some torrential rain today. And this is because, once again, at the moment, we've got a jet stream that's firing away across the UK that is bringing in all this unsettled weather. So things are going to change. This is the jet today, but if we just push it forward 4 or 5 days, notice how the jet starts to move south, taking all of the low pressure systems with it. In its place, an area of high pressure comes in to settle things down and cool things down as well. We'll take a look at the pressure. So today we've got a deep area of low pressure controlling things over centered over the Irish Sea at the moment. But once again, move this forward a few days. This time next week, high pressure could be sitting somewhere to the north of the UK, 1039. Don't know if that's exceptionally high, but yet you get the gist. Things will be settling down with regard to pressure and the temperature anomaly. So down in the south, it's still very, very mild. It's still rather cool up there in the north. And I've just looked at the cam. This is up at Ballata in Scotland. Still plenty of snow laying around. They've had a fair bit of snow at times throughout the course of the week. But yeah, as we mentioned, that cooling trend is evident. So this is like early in the week and perhaps by the end of the week, more in the way of blues across the UK, suggesting that things will be cooling down. Right, we'll now take a look at the WX charts. We're going to use the ECM model today to see how it's all going to play out this week, to just see how these improvements are going to take place. Worth mentioning, improvements, things will be drying up, things will be cooling down, but it's going to be a slow old process. Still plenty of rain to come, and I'll show you an interesting precipitation chart in a moment. Right, so this is the situation today. That low pressure centered itself over the Irish Sea is now sort of really controlling the weather. Sunshine and showers across the north of England today, with some sort of like more persistent showery rain across the northeast of Scotland. Push this through to tomorrow morning. So we wake up on New Year's Day. Should be relatively dry across many parts of England and Wales. So get out and have your walk earlier in the day, I would suggest, because during the course of the afternoon, another deep area of low pressure will be pushing in from the Atlantic, bringing with it a spell of heavy rain across Ireland and the southwest, spreading up across southern England, right up towards the northwest of England by the evening. And then if we follow that through to early hours of Tuesday, that pushes further north, preceded once again by a spell of sleet and wet snow over the higher ground before all that pushes northwards to greet the borders first thing on Tuesday morning. Further rain on Tuesday will be coming into the south in association with another little area of low pressure. Notice how the week progresses. These low pressures that have been to the north of the UK will with time be moving further and further south. So these lows, they will be taking rain across the south. So yeah, we've got to go through a bit of pain before we get to that area of high pressure, drier and colder weather later on in the week. So this is Tuesday. Another band of rain clears out the way, but plenty of rain still left across Scotland, eastern Scotland, perhaps just a little bit of hill snow across maybe the Grampians, places like that. Right, we move through to Wednesday. Low pressure is kind of sitting to the northwest of Scotland. That's like the parent low. That will be sitting there, just sort of steering the showers on that westerly flow across England and Wales. But yeah, again, more persistent rain across the northeast of Scotland, but for most, a blustery day, windy day with sunshine and showers. By the time we move through to Thursday, perhaps a slight ridge, perhaps slightly dry for England and Wales for a time, but yet more in the way of showery rain across Scotland, wintry over those hills as the air does start to cool. And then throughout the course of the day on Thursday, looks like another little disturbance, another little low pressure will zip across southern England, but to all intents and purposes, many inland places further north should get away with a relatively dry day on Thursday. Things start to change thereafter. Notice how by the time we reach Friday, that area low pressure that's been to the northwest, that starts to push down further south. So towards the northeast of Scotland, you're starting to pull in more of a southeasterly flow, and there's still quite some persistent rain and showers down across the southeast of England. Quite a wet week. We'll have a look at a chart in a moment. Right, by the time we get to Thursday, just notice how that low pressure now is pushed down towards the south. We're starting to import more of a cooler easterly flow. By then, the propensity of the showers will be starting to show up on the east coast. So that's the situation on Friday. Cooler, breezy, with showers pushing into the east, more persistent rain across the southeast of England. By Saturday, that area of low pressure as well pushed well down to the southeast of us by then. It's got low 1025. I think that should really be a high. Let's move him out of the way. There we go. So by sort of the end of Saturday, high pressure starting to edge down from the north. Low pressure then by this stage on the continent, a run of northeasterly breezes bringing in more showers to the southeast and perhaps some wintry showers pushing on to the east coast because the air will be starting to turn cooler. We'll have a look at the 850 on Zombles in a minute to see if there's how cold this air is going to get, because it is quite interesting to see that, you know, even as early as next Sunday, that perhaps, just perhaps, some of this precipitation could be starting to turn wintry even down in parts of the southeast. So that's something we'll have a little look on. And so this is the scene by this time next week. A complete reversal in our fortunes of weather. High pressure now is well on the scene. Cold easterly breezes blowing across the UK. Not sure they're going to be that cold just yet, but yeah, it will be a marked change from where we are at. Right, we're going to now look at the precipitation for the week ahead. So as I've said, don't expect a dry week because things are going to be improving. Another very wet week in store. This is the accumulated precipitation between now and the end of next Sunday. So that's Sunday the 7th. So most parts of the UK are in for another, 30, 40 millimetres of rain. Some heavier totals, particularly along the west and the south coast. Looks like the Bristol Channel, places around there could be in for a bit of a soaking, over 70 millimetres. And what I will notice is that towards the north of Scotland, or should I say towards central Scotland, a somewhat drier theme starting to go. And that's because that high pressure will be pushing down across the north first. And obviously you won't be in the rain zones quite so much because all the rain will be pushing south with that jet stream. Right, we're now just going to have a little look at the trend, see if we've got any confidence in the rise of pressure. And I think it's fair to say that yes, across the GFS on Zombles this morning, good agreement for a rise in pressure at London. So we'll be seeing quite a bit of consensus for pressure going up to the 1000 to 1030 millibar range. Much the same for Manchester, I would have thought. Yep, and also for Inverness. So, good agreement for Inverness as well for pressure to rise, but perhaps not quite as confident as it is further south. So yeah, just something to keep an eye on. Right, we'll have a look at your precipitation spikes. So as we mentioned, it is a drying trend, but we've got to go through some pain rain for the first few days of the week. So yep, 2nd, 3rd, 4th and the 5th, still some quite wet periods for London before the drying trend takes over there. Over towards Manchester, yep, you're still wet for the 1st, 2nd and 3rd, but you'll be drying from the north somewhat in the second half of the week. And across Inverness, well, yeah, I think, yeah, the drying trend is evident there, but perhaps longer term, there's still more in the way of precipitation going on up there. Temperature trends, so once again, we'll start with London. I think the trend is clear. It's on the way up to the 2nd, and then there's a gradual decline, steady by steady, day by day. So much so, we'll be losing a degree or so each day. So by, say, this time next week, you may be struggling to reach 5 degrees in the capital, in London. Manchester, trend is evident there as well. Peaks around the 2nd, drops away day by day. So once again, by this time next week, you could be seeing maximum temperatures struggling to get much higher than 3 degrees. And over towards Inverness, yeah, again, the signal not quite as marked for the far north of Scotland at the moment, but a trend to cooler conditions is there nevertheless. Right, we're going to wrap this up now with a look at the 850s, the longer term trends, and perhaps a cheeky sneak at the snow spikes. So there we go. Let's take a look at London. If you were following the snow forecasts, that bit of fun we did before Christmas, we're generally looking for temperatures to start getting below -7, -8, for snow to get down towards ground level. Looking at these 850 HPA temperatures, these are 1500 metres up in the air. The trend is downwards, and they certainly do move down towards -5. If you look around the 6th and the 7th, we've got quite a good cluster in there. So, yeah, possible, I suppose, that, much like that ECM was showing, there will be some, if there are some showers around, just the chance of them becoming a little bit wintry. The week after is interesting, isn't it? From the 8th through to the 15th, some really, really quite cold ensemble members showing up there. Some of them -10, -12, -14. That is proper, very cold winter synoptics. But at the moment, I think we have to say that's a low confidence solution, because look at the spread of those ensembles. Some of them are up towards 5. So, yeah, we'll be keeping an eye on that, and no doubt all the hype will be going on in the media when they see the odd chart like that here and there. Let's go to Manchester. Oh, yeah. Should we go into the snow spikes now? Yeah, let's have a look at London's snow spikes. Have we got any? Well, yeah, a few, I suppose, again, from the 8th. So, yeah, signal is there that cold air will be coming in. Is the chance of some snow from, say, the 7th, 8th onwards, as that easterly, I presume, maintains its grip. We'll now go over to Manchester. Have a look at your little trends. So Manchester, yeah, the trend is downwards for you guys as well. -5 is reached pretty early, again around the 5th to 6th, that cold air coming down from the north. And then there seems to be a fairly good cluster of colder ensembles around the 7th and the 8th, and perhaps one or two down towards the 9th and 10th. But as with London, there are some very, very cold solutions in there, some bitterly cold ones, but there are also some very mild ones. We take a look at your spikes, Manchester. How are you looking? So, yeah, again, you're a little bit earlier, because that colder air is filtering down from the north first. So, yeah, there is just a chance, I suppose, from the 5th onwards. But, yeah, very, very low signal. I think the real sort of colder weather is going to be reserved, if we do get it, for the week after next. And then we'll just finally go up to Inverness just to see how you're looking up there, Inverness. And your trend is down. Well, you've been quite chilly throughout, haven't you? But yeah, suffice to say that you're below the -5 line most of the time from around the 5th onwards. Again, some very, very cold ensemble runs showing up there from the 9th down to -10, -15, one or two even lower than that. Once again, low confidence, too much spread on the ensembles, but we'll be keeping an eye on those to see if things firm up one way or the other. And the snow depths up there, well, yeah, you're pretty much always in the picture. You've been having snow at different times over the last few days, and except for the first, second, where it does become a little bit milder, I think you're in with a chance really from the 3rd all the way through. So that is it in summary. I hope you've all enjoyed the forecast. Suffice to say, look at this chart. It won't be lasting forever. As with all things do change. Things will start to settle down. Things will become cooler and drier. But yeah, as I've said, we've got a bit of pain rain to go before we get there. I'm going to sign off, but all have a lovely new year, and I'll speak to you again in a couple of days. Ciao for now.